Most people think January is the death of the garden. They stare out their windows at frozen ground, convinced nothing can be done until spring warmth returns. But while they wait, they are losing 4 months of potential food production. For months where their beds could be working, where seeds could be germinating, where a system could be building that will feed their family when everyone else is still buying overpriced vegetables at the store. January is not the end of growing. It is the strategic beginning. The Victory Garden method does not fight winter. It uses winter. By understanding which crops thrive in cold, which tolerate frost, and which need protection, you turn January from a dead month into the foundation of year-round food production. This is not theory. This is the system that fed millions during wartime rationing and still works today. Victory gardening divides all crops into 3 groups: cold-hardy crops that survive freezing, cool-season crops that grow best in cold weather, and protected crops that need minimal shelter. When you plant the right crop at the right time with the right protection, January becomes productive. The secret is matching plant biology to winter conditions, not trying to force summer crops into cold soil. Here is where most January planting fails. People try to grow summer crops in winter conditions. They plant tomatoes in cold frames and watch them rot. They start peppers too early and the seedlings stretch weak and pale under insufficient light. Or they plant nothing because they assume the ground is too frozen. All 3 approaches waste time and money. The second failure is not understanding hardiness zones and microclimates. A cold frame in full sun can be 20 degrees warmer than surrounding air. A south-facing wall creates a microclimate where tender plants survive. But most gardeners ignore these advantages, planting everything in exposed beds where nothing can succeed. The third error is impatience with germination. Cold soil means slow germination. Seeds planted in January may take 3 weeks to sprout instead of 5 days. Gardeners panic, thinking they failed, and replant, wasting seeds and time. Law 1. Only plant what thrives in cold. Spinach, kale, onions, garlic, broad beans, and peas all germinate and grow in cold soil. They do not just tolerate winter, they prefer it. Law 2. Use protection strategically. A simple cold frame or row cover adds weeks to your growing season without expensive infrastructure. Law 3. Start succession planting now. Seeds planted in January will harvest in March or April. Seeds planted in March will harvest in May. By starting now, you eliminate the summer gap. John Seymour wrote that self-sufficiency is not about perfection. It is about continuity. The Victory Garden method creates continuity by refusing to accept dead months. Every month is a planting month. Every season has crops that thrive in its conditions. When you understand this, you stop being a seasonal gardener who produces food 3 months a year. You become a year-round producer who uses all 12 months. This matters because food security is not about one big harvest in August. It is about fresh food every week, stored food for winter, and the knowledge that your family will eat regardless of what happens at the grocery store. Here is what you plant in January and exactly how to do it. For direct seeding in the ground, broad beans are your first crop. They germinate in soil as cold as 35 degrees and actually need cold weather to set pods properly. Choose a bed with good drainage because waterlogged soil will rot the seeds. Plant them 2 inches deep and 4 inches apart in double rows. They will germinate in 2 to 3 weeks and be ready to harvest in May, giving you fresh protein when summer crops are just seedlings. The plants will grow slowly through January and February, developing deep root systems that make them drought-resistant later. By the time March arrives, they will explode with growth. Garlic and onion sets go in now if your ground is not frozen solid. Push them into the soil so the tip is just below the surface. The cold period they experience in January and February triggers proper bulb formation. Without this cold exposure, you get green tops but no mature bulbs. They need nothing else until spring. Garlic planted in January will be ready for harvest in July, giving you storage crops that last through winter. Each clove you plant now becomes a full head by summer. Spinach can be direct seeded if you use row covers. Sow seeds 1/2 inch deep in rows 6 inches apart. Cover with floating row cover fabric to trap heat and block wind. The spinach will germinate slowly but will be producing baby leaves by March. Once established, spinach becomes incredibly cold tolerant, surviving temperatures down to 15 degrees without damage. For cold frame planting, lettuce is your most productive option. Inside a cold frame, daytime temperatures reach 50 to 60 degrees even when outside air is freezing. Broadcast lettuce seeds across the surface of prepared soil, rake lightly to cover, and keep moist. In 4 to 6 weeks, you will have cut-and-come-again lettuce that produces for months. A single cold frame can supply salad greens for a family of 4 from March through June. Kale seedlings started indoors in December can be transplanted into cold frames in January. They will grow slowly but steadily, and by March you will have full-size plants producing leaves while everyone else is still buying kale at $5 a bunch. Cold actually improves kale flavor, making it sweeter and less bitter. Peas are the game changer. Plant them now in protected areas or under cloches. They tolerate frost, grow in cold soil, and by April they will be flowering while conventional gardens are just being tilled. An early pea harvest means fresh vegetables in late spring when stored winter food is running low but summer crops are not ready. Peas also fix nitrogen, enriching your soil for the crops that follow. A 4x8 cold frame planted in January will produce 30 pounds of lettuce, spinach, and kale between March and June. Store-bought organic greens cost $8 per pound. That is $240 of food from one small cold frame and $20 worth of seeds. The return is not just financial. It is the security of having fresh food when supply chains are disrupted and grocery prices spike. And unlike summer crops that demand constant attention, these winter plantings need minimal care. Water them when soil is dry, protect them from harsh wind, and they do the rest. The Victory Garden method changes how you think about time. Most people see winter as a gap between seasons. Victory gardeners see winter as a resource, a period of cold that certain crops require. When you plant in January, you are not fighting nature. You are using natural cold cycles to trigger germination, improve flavor, and extend harvest windows. This is the shift from industrial thinking, which tries to control everything, to ecological thinking, which observes and cooperates. Picture this. It is mid-March. Your neighbors are browsing seed catalogs, planning what they will plant when the ground thaws. You are harvesting. You walk to your cold frame and cut fresh lettuce for lunch. You pull spinach leaves, still crisp from the cold night. You check your broad beans, already 6 inches tall and flowering. In the main garden, garlic shoots are emerging green and strong, and pea vines are climbing their supports. While others are buying vegetables shipped from 1,000 miles away, you are eating from your own land. Food you planted in January. Food that grew while everyone else assumed nothing could grow. This is not luck. This is the result of planting in winter, understanding cold hardy crops, and refusing to accept dead months. Your family eats fresh greens in March. Your neighbors will not harvest until July. January is not the death of the garden. It is the beginning of food independence. The Victory Garden method proves that winter is not an obstacle. It is an opportunity. By planting cold hardy crops now, using simple protection, and understanding which plants thrive in cold, you create a garden that produces 12 months a year. Start today. Plant broad beans, garlic, spinach. Install a cold frame. Begin succession planting. By spring, while others are just starting, you will already be harvesting.